And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a branch of Laurels. This is a very special episode. We're calling it the Forever on Vigil episode. My guest tonight is the Honorable Lady Eleanor Cleveley, and she was put on vigil for the Order of the Laurel in January of last year for her bardic research and voice heraldry and various other things, and has not been able to do the in-person elevation yet. So we're going to have her talk about that. But first, would you please tell us, what is your SCA origin story? How did you find the SCA, and what hooked you?
I was in college, and my roommate had been playing in the SCA for a while, and this is when I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so Barony of Elfsea, shout out on Stiora. And my roommate and her boyfriend had gone to an event called Steps Warlord, and had, Steps Warlord always floods, and so I, kind of made fun of them for going camping in the middle of, tornado season in Texas. And so she's like, oh yeah, well, I'll show you. And so the next weekend was the Texas Scottish Festival and Highland Games. And the Barony of Elfsea always did a demo there. And so she woke me up at 6:00 on a Saturday morning. College, not a good thing to wake somebody up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. And she said, here, put this on, and threw me this skirt and this like poet shirt, chemise kind of thing. She's like, here, put this on, you're coming with me. And so I'm like, okay. So, she took me to the Highland Games. She paid my way in and took me over to the tent. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And she said, this is what we were doing last weekend. You nerd, check this out. And so, I got to meet the Baron and Baroness, and I met a whole lot of people. And I thought it was really cool. It wasn't, something that I was like seriously considering until I saw the man who is now my husband. And I was like, ooh, if he's doing it, I totally got to do this. Aww. And so, so yeah, that's my SCA origin story. I saw a cute guy at a demo, and 21 years later, I'm still here.
and you married the guy, and you had a kid.
20 years this month we've been married. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So lucky.
I think it's our 18th this month, April 9th.
Oh, congratulations. Ours is the 28th.
Yay. That's a long time.
Yes. Yes, it is.
When I think about it, it's like, really? Wow. Am I that old even?
Right.
I
right.
don't know.
And he looks the same to me today as he did the day I met him. So I'm very lucky.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So when you started, was there somebody who was your mentor?
Initially, no. Oddly enough, I had like the worst case of stage fright. I would have panic attacks getting on stage. In high school, I did the pit instead of being on the stage. I performed the music. And so, somebody challenged me to learn a song and do this thing called bardic. And the first song I ever learned was Green Sleeves. But I didn't learn it. I actually wrote it on my hands. And I knew the chorus, but I wrote the lyrics on my hands. And so at an event, the event that I think it was the event I met the gentleman that became my Laurel, I was entered into the bardic competition. And so I'm like frantically trying to remember the song. I have it written on my hands, and I just like had a panic attack and just started crying and forgot that the words were written on my hands. And so I did that. And I had bardic war paint on my face and with pen just everywhere. And I'm sobbing, and I'm like, it's the worst thing ever. But I belted the hell out of that chorus because that's the only part I knew. And so I finished, and the gentleman who was my initial Laurel, Master Darius of the Bells, was really encouraging. He was such a gentleman about it. He's like, you've got something, keep working on it. And I think he was announced, I think at the next event or something like that. And I was his first apprentice until he stopped playing. And so I would say he was really the first person to say, other than my husband, obviously, to say, hey, you really could, have fun with this, give it a shot. So
You got something, kid, stick with it.
yeah, I'm gonna go to Broadway. But so yeah, I really appreciated the feedback from him. And I think he ended up winning that competition, and I was just like in awe. I was like, there's no way I could ever do something like that. But here I am.
So did competitions end up being kind of a regular thing for you? Did that turn into kind of your thing?
Yeah, it's like crack. It's like it's seriously, it's like it's the rush, and I love doing them. I don't go out to win them. That's not my thing. I just like going and participating and getting people involved to do it and getting them excited, because I know what it's like to be completely terrified and crap your pants in front of people who are judging you. And I don't want them to feel that way. So I'm like, hey, I can do a crappy job. You can do better than me. Come on down. Let's do it, And yeah, I love doing competitions. Those are like it's like a fighter enters a tournament, bards enter bardic competitions, because, that's how we can slap each other, and it's great. And I love it. It's so much fun. I don't know why everybody's so afraid of competitions. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You could lose, right? Oh, darn. Somebody hands you a drink, you win. Ta-da! I mean, who cares? So
I am not a competitor, so those words are something that I should hear more often.
yeah, just go have fun with it. I mean, if you win, cool. If you don't win, that's okay too. You performed with your friends. That's the point.
Awesome. How did you get into the voice heraldry?
I think what happened, if I'm remembering correctly, somebody was like, hey, is this person in camp? And I turned around and I just bellowed it. And they're like, you should herald. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they said, well, come here, I'll go have you talk to somebody who does. And so, they said, hey, why don't you try reading this? And so I read it. And then they said, you should come back to court and do the same thing. And I'm like, okay. So I came back to court, and I found that the vocal heraldry, I didn't have the same terror that I did with Bardic at first. The vocal heraldry is what really that was my gateway drug. And then, I went on the stronger stuff of Bardic, and yeah, so those two, I really love doing the vocal heraldry because I look at it as Bardic, because I have to think on my feet. I have to, come up with something on the fly, and it's a blast, especially when I can make people laugh doing that. So.
And do you do like baronial courts or kingdom courts, or all of the above?
All of the above. I'm a herald for hire.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Who are some of your favorite royal couples, baronial or crown, that you've been herald for?
Gosh, let's see. I'll start with baronial. So some of my favorite baronial couples have been Willem and Cassandra from the Barony of Elsie. They were just absolutely phenomenal. Not heralds. Absolutely phenomenal coronets to herald for. They were a lot of fun. Jacqueline and Jeffroy from the Barony of Sundragon. I hope that they're watching. Hi guys, I miss you. They are just they were such a fun crown, or not crown. Oh my god, they were such a fun coronet to herald for, especially because they just let me loose. I would have to say that the some of the best crowns that I've had the ability to see have been Edward and Osa from the Kingdom of Atenvelt, because he's a bard king, and he's absolutely amazing. And Morgan and Elizabeth, their current majesties, the once and future crown, they are just phenomenal. And I've been their bard twice, And that was just an immense honor to have, and to work with them. They are just amazing. So, and I look forward to working with the Crown here in the Outlands, and the Coronet in the Barony of the Citadel, the Southern Pass. And this is going to be fun.
Awesome. So we're both wearing matching necklaces tonight. It is doing heraldic things, voice heraldry things online. Is that how? Tell me about what you've been doing during COVID.
What I've been doing is I've been, trying to encourage bards to keep working on their stuff. I was, helping with online stuff here in the Citadel. I've been hosting their Scribal nights out here online. Just, just doing what I normally do, just doing it in a different environment. I just, honestly, I've kind of racked my brain going, I see what everybody else is doing, and I'm like, why did I get this? I don't know, but they obviously thought I was doing something right. So, it's such an honor. I don't think I had the ability to like completely let it sink in yet. Yeah, it's really cool.
And shout out to their Majesties Eatonvelt, yes, who have just been, I mean, if anybody has deserves to be, wearing one of these and holding this, and for preserving the love and the passion for the SCA, they certainly do. They Absolutely. Definitely have lifted me up. And we said before we got live that we were going to share our scrolls too, because yes, those are really special. So why don't you go ahead and share?
Mine will show up because Zoom and white screen. So
there, if you hold it right there. Oh no, go down. Right there.
I'm a ghost. That mine was done by Lady Caradwyn Verchdyken. And on the bottom it has Team Eight Dragon. When we competed for ANS champions together for our respective baronies, we said that we were going to be Team Eight Dragon when we both won. She won, I didn't, but that's okay. We're still Team Eight Dragon. But yeah, so Lady Caradwyn painted this for me, and the text print was by Sebastian of the Titans. So I'm honored to have this done by them, and so cool. I cried when I got it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you to their Majesties as well.
And this one's mine. And I also cried when I got it. I just love it.
That is so cool.
It's dark in all the right places, and it's bright in all the right places. And the calligraphy is by Master Rowan McKay, and the illumination is by, it's in a script that I don't really recognize. It's like maybe a GUKA. I'm not sure, but I love it, and I'm sorry I can't say your name very well. whoever that is, thank you very much. They're really awesome, and my sister really likes hers too. So thanks. I just wanted to do that. Yay! So that's really awesome. So let's talk a little bit about being put on vigil. What was that like? Well, let's back up actually all the way to, you had a laurel.
Yes.
Was that in Eatonvelt?
Mm-hmm. My laurel is Her Excellency Mistress Isabel de Estea, and I hope she's watching this. She said she would. But yeah, she's my laurel. She's from the Barony of Twin Moons. And shout out to all the Moonies out there. Hello, Moonies. But yeah, she took me on. I approached her 4 years ago. About 4 years ago at Kingdom 12th Night. And I said, I understand you're a research laurel. And she said, yeah. And I was like, well, what do you say? And she said, well, let me see your stuff. And so I showed her my stuff, and she was nice enough to give me a belt. So she's absolutely one of my best friends, and I'm so grateful to her and to Dame Anita Chalice, who is like my pelican, but not being a pelican. I'm not a, a protege to her, but I feel like she's my pelican, and she's just wonderful. Two very wonderful people who have guided me through all of this, and I really credit them for getting me this far.
That's awesome. Did you, when your first Laurel decided to leave the SCA, did that kind of tank you a little bit?
Yeah, it did. And I understand the reasons why, and they're his reasons, and I respect them, and things happen, and but I continued to wear the belt because I wanted to show that just because his journey ended, mine didn't. And I was fostered for a time to Maestra Alex the Scribe, who is in the East Kingdom. Hopefully she's watching. All these people said they were going to watch, so I'm just name dropping them to see if they're actually paying attention. But she fostered me for a while when we lived in Atenvelt before, and she provided me a lot of great advice as far as scribal stuff and helped me get into that. But Isabel really pushed me and said, okay, quit whining, get it done. And, she was very no nonsense about that. I think it's the fact that she's British that does that. And I respect that. And I appreciate it, because that's what I needed, was somebody to give me a kick in the pants and say, stop your whining, get it done. So I take it to heart.
My, I had kind of had 3 Laurels, and they all have had a huge impact on me. And Her Grace Duchess Ludwiga was kind of the Laurel that really fostered me. And I have a very vivid memory of her kind of grabbing me by the lapels and saying, "Pull it together." Pull it together.
I think we all have had that moment where we're just hysterical and somebody smacks you, goes, "Pull yourself together, woman." You're like, okay. And then the magic happens. I think that's in the Laurel manual.
I think it must be. And I have her voice in my head anytime I feel like I'm losing it a little bit. I hear her say, "Pull it together." I'm like, okay, yes. Okay, pulling it together. She also talks to me while I'm stitching and tells me that my stitches are too big.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I think that's one of those things. Be careful what you tell your students, because that voice is going to be in their head forever. And I'm thankful she said good things to me, but.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I've had those people, but there have also been, people who, even though I wasn't officially belted to them, they've always been that kind of guiding light, like Master Cosimo Orsini, Master Malcolm, Malcolm McGregor the Bold, Countess Leah, Count Brian, all of those people, have been just guiding lights for me in the Bardic community in Atenvelt. And, they really encouraged me whenever we were starting the Atenvelt Bardic College back in 2005, 2006, when we started the Atenvelt Bardic College. And their counsel was just overwhelmingly useful, and the college survives today, and it's run by some amazing bards like Runa, and oh my god, my COVID brain, I just forgot. I see his name and I see him, but I can't think of his name. I feel so bad. He's also from
everybody does
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, but there's so many bards in Atenvelt that, have encouraged me and have pushed me. And, there's such wonderful bards out there, and I'm so lucky to be able to work with them. So
tell me more about Bardic College. What is that?
So the Atenvelt Bardic College was it was a guild, but we didn't want to call it a guild. We wanted to call it something a little more froofy. So we called it a college, and we did up a charter. I've got the charter still packed somewhere. But you know, we had like this giant, the charter for the thing is like, I swear it's like this big. It's like a Laurel scroll big.
Wow.
And it's got all the baronies on it, and it's got the whole charter of the Bardic College on it. And we got at the time it was Craven and Mary Rose who were the crown that approved it. And basically it was to foster the Bardic arts in the Kingdom of Atenvelt and to provide a space where bards could learn. And that was pre-Facebook days. And now the Bardic College is online, and Lady Runa is doing a fantastic job of pushing that. And
Was Brother Grimwald the name you were trying to remember?
Grimwald, yes, I knew it. Yes, it was Grimwald. Yes, thank you. Yes, Grimwald. Oh my God, Grimwald. I am so sorry. But yes, yeah, they're doing an amazing job of teaching new bards and developing as bards themselves. And Atenvelt, you guys got to watch them. They're amazing. They're so good. Keep an eye on those kids. They're the bee's knees.
Awesome. So it sounds like you came out of like a really strong, supportive community.
Mm-hmm.
And it also sounds like you helped create that community.
I tried. Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work. You know, it's being a bard, a lot of times people just see us as entertainment and, you know, something to listen to when you're too drunk to talk around the fire. But, you know, we are the keepers of history, both, you know, in the SCA and historically. We are the ones who teach the young our stories of our heroes, and you know, we are the ones who pass along that history so that, you know, what is dead may never die, you know. And that I think is such an incredible responsibility. You know, there's a space for that, you know, drunken song at 2 a.m. But I believe that the bard's primary purpose is to pass along that history and to embellish it as much as possible beyond all scope of normalcy and understanding, so that, you know, when you're 65 years old and you can't fight anymore, you can still hear bards sing about your exploits. And then you pay your bards. Don't forget to pay your bards.
Pay your bards.
Yes, pay your bards or they will pay you back.
Awesome. So question, do you feel torn between judging, which is always needed, and entering competitions yourself? How do you decide which should get your attention?
That is tough. And that the last like year and a half of that journey before I was announced was really tough in making that decision, because I was getting a lot of feedback as far as, you know, you're being looked at. And it's like, but you know, it's hard to talk about this without sounding arrogant. but you know, it's like there were times where I was like, okay, Kingdom Bardic, you bet your sweet bippy I'm competing in Kingdom Bardic, because one, it's fun, two, it's a way to get in front of the crown, and three, wouldn't it be awesome to win? You know, being Kingdom Bard is a lot of fun. Baronial Bardic, I would enter just to be a filler and to encourage other people to enter. But toward like the last year and a half, I was judging more than I was competing. And that was more so that I could give them feedback, so I could get into that practice of giving relevant feedback and promoting newer people to come up. But yeah, it is difficult to find that balance. I imagine it's like a fighter who's won crown, you know, a couple of times, or, you know, a Laurel who's won Kingdom A&S a couple of times. You know, the competition's fun, but you also have to balance that with, you know, letting other people have fun too. And so, yeah. So if I do enter a competition, I guess going forward, unless I really, really want it, I'll probably just tell them I'm just competing to have fun. you know, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't figured out how to navigate that yet.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do you navigate that?
I don't know. I'm not a computer, so I always default to judging.
Yeah.
And I actually haven't done a lot of that in the past few years because I had some problematic experiences that made me feel like maybe there are people better suited to judging than I am.
Got it.
And that's not a
Well,
permanent decision. I will probably go back to it, but I need a
yeah.
break.
And, you know, and as far as the judging, I mean, I judge for a living. I'm a teacher, so I'm naturally judgy. So, but I like to judge, especially like kingdom competitions, like Kingdom A&S, because what I've seen in the past, at least on my judging sheets, is I've seen a wide range of commentary and how that commentary is put on the paper. And whenever you're judging somebody's performance or somebody's art that they have put their heart and soul into, you have to be very careful about how you give that feedback. And I think being a teacher has helped me do that in a way that has lifted people up rather than saying, you know, rather than tearing something apart. Because I've had judging sheets where I've been torn apart, and you know, thankfully I'm you know, the redheaded, you know, screw you, hippie. I can, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'll just keep going. But you know, there are people who you know, that will absolutely destroy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have to remember that this is first and foremost a hobby. This is
Yeah.
not life.
This is
And you
not a
know, if somebody,
venue through
yeah,
which you get to crush souls.
right. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't want to be that kind of peer.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know that I would be able to uh I don't know. I don't know what kind of peer I'm going to be, but I don't know if I'm going to be the kind of peer that's going to keep their mouth shut on something like that. So I don't know what kind of reputation I'm going to get myself as a peer, but doggone it, it's going to be fun getting that reputation, I think.
Well, and
So
part of the vow, so I don't know what vow that you're going to take. I don't know if it's a set
vow of celibacy, chat.
part of our oh my god, my brain is not working tonight. I'm so sorry. Part of our fealty vow is to speak and be silent, right?
Mhm.
And that's a very interesting line to walk sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, and how to speak up. You know, do you do it publicly? Do you do it privately? Do you, you know, that's all stuff that you have to really take some time to figure out, you know, what kind of peer you want to be. And
Yeah.
it took me years, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm still, this will be my, I think my 17th year this July. And I'm still becoming the Laurel I want to be.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, when I got made a Laurel, I had really high expectations of the order.
Right.
And then I got in it and I was like, oh, nobody can be all that. I'm an asshole.
I know. I'm so afraid to go into to a circle one day and like all of my illusions are shattered. Like, you know, because as an apprentice, you have these visions of what circles are, and you know what happens in a circle, and like, you know, duels are fought in circles, you know, oh, I smack you in the face, oh, you said this bad thing about my apprentice, oh, when in fact, you know, nothing like that happens. And I'm so afraid that nothing like that will happen. I mean, I if I'm going to sit in a 4-hour meeting, doggone it, I want fighting and action.
I think you might be disappointed, but I've never sat in a circle in your kingdom, so I don't know for sure.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
So
So I've heard chivalry circles are fun, but I no thank you.
I think that's the beer.
Mm, yes, yes. I'm
Um,
guessing the girls are more refined, I guess. I don't know.
Mimosas.
Yeah. Oh. So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to turn the tables on you.
Okay, I'm game.
Is it true that a new initiate must provide the alcohol for their first circle? Because I've heard rumors about this, and I think people are pulling my leg.
I think that is kingdom dependent. In our kingdom, it is baked goods.
Oh, good to know.
And
Okay.
because we have regions and kingdom meetings, they have to take baked goods to their first regional meeting. And for however many Laurels are at the regional meeting. And then again, when they do kingdom, they have to do a lot of baked goods because our kingdom meetings are enormous.
Interesting.
And
Okay,
some
so
people stop at Safeway and get the clamshells of cookies. And some people do amazing period, just gorgeous, yummy little things. And, not everyone's a food Laurel, right? So you do what you can.
okay,
Our night circles, yeah, it's alcohol for the circle. So
awesome. Well, I'm sure there'll be an Outland Laurel to tell me what I need to do, I hope.
Yep. So how does it feel to know that you got put on vigil in one kingdom and then you move to another kingdom? What's happening?
I don't know. I don't know. I think what I have no idea. I don't know. I'm sure this has happened to people before. I'm sure I'm not the first person this has happened to. I'm sure there's some kind of protocol for it.
I think that you might be the first person that has been on vigil for over a year during a pandemic and switched kingdoms. I think you might be a trailblazer.
Maybe. Hopefully I am not the first of many. Okay, so guys, wear your mask, please. But yeah, I'm not the only one right now who is on vigil. But the other two people who are on vigil, I believe, are already peers. One of them is Baron Master Domingo, and the other one is Fergus de Botha. And they were announced the same event I was. And so it's kind of become a running gag, I think, with us that we're at 400 and Fergus didn't send me the count, but we're at like 450 days and counting or something like that. But yeah, I mean,
we've got, I think we have 3 in our kingdom as well.
Yeah. So I know we're not alone. And to my plague brothers and sisters, I salute you.
It's not an easy place to be.
No, it's not. And it makes it difficult to get garb together because I'm so afraid that I'm gonna put my garb on and it's not gonna fit. That's like my biggest fear right now. Is I'm gonna put my garb on and it's not gonna fit. But at the same time, I'm like, I have to work out so my garb will fit. And that sucks. But it's kind of like planning a wedding.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And shout out to Baroness Lisbetta de Bartholomew of Barony of Atenvelt. That woman is a goddess when it comes to costuming. She made my Laurel garb, and I am so just over the moon appreciative of her for doing that. She's amazing, and I love her to death, and I can't wait to see her and put the garb on and pray to God that it fits. Because I think she'll kill me if it doesn't. So
either that or she'll know how to fix it so that you can wear it.
Oh yeah, she's like the fairy godmother of sewing. She's amazing.
So your ceremony, your costume, everything's all planned. It's just waiting for the time to be right.
Yeah, it's just waiting. Yeah, Mistress Magdalene and Lord Grimold are doing the heraldry, and they've done it in like a Chaucer style. Even though I'm dressed as a tutor, I started as a tutor, but my focus primarily has been mid to late 1300s. I'm kind of getting back into the tutor because I just love the tutor clothes. This is like, I feel I could teach in this all day. It is comfortable. If they would let me wear this to school, I would totally do it. I'd be the coolest teacher on campus, but they don't. They have a dress code, those monsters. Yeah, so I've done stuff from like Old English all the way up to Shakespeare and beyond. So being an English major has really helped the Bardic stuff because I have ready access to a lot of books. So
for sure. And are you still you're teaching and going to school right now as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
It is. I often wonder what the hell I'm doing, but I'm sure it'll. I mean, this is it. Once I finish with this degree, there's literally nowhere else for me to go. So, I'm gonna graduate in 2023. So hopefully the pandemic will be over by then. So I can walk. But yeah,
And then we
um,
get to call you doctor.
doctor. Yeah, I'm so excited. That'll be great. That's been like my goal in life is for my kids to call me doc. That'd be really awesome. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to having apprentices and students and stuff and giving back to for all the amazing guidance I've gotten. Just so lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's one of the most beautiful things about the SCA is how free we are with our knowledge and teaching each other.
Yeah.
Um, I've learned I've learned how to sew. I've learned more metal work skills. I continue to learn every day
Yeah.
from my students and people that aren't my students and other Laurels. And it's that for me is kind of the big deal about the SCA.
Yeah.
Fighting's cool and everything, but I don't do that. And
I was never really good at fighting. No, I mean, I flinch really bad and I can't fight with my glasses, so I can't see without my glasses. So all I see is like this big rush of something coming at my face. And I like, "Ah!" So yes, I will never be crowned by my own hand. So, and I'm okay with that. I respect the women who have, and you guys are amazing. But yeah, I've fought rapier for a long time, and but the older I've gotten, the worse my eyes have gotten, and the less likely it is that I will ever fight again. So
I just don't
yeah.
like to be hit. I'm a delicate flower. Well, and when my sister's a knight, and when she and I started in the SCA, we started in Seattle, and there was a group of gentlemen down from Alaska, and
Mhm.
it was very much a learn by getting the shit beat out of you kind of
Mhm.
practice.
Yeah.
Um, and I look at what's going on now in the fighting community with the training and the technique, and it's a completely different ball game now.
Mhm.
And I think that I still probably would never have gotten really good at fighting because I'm just not athletic, but I
Yeah.
definitely would have stayed in it a lot longer if there was actually training and not just bruising happening.
Trial by combat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think that's one of the really positive ways the fighting community has grown is
absolutely. And they've been a lot more welcoming to women too, which I fully embrace.
mhm.
Um, I'm getting to the point where, even if I could fight, it's probably not a good idea that I do it. Um, but watching the SCA Women Fighters group has been inspiring, and those women are trailblazers, and they're making the game more inclusive for all. And I think our game can only get better the more people have the opportunity to participate in more activities and more things. I mean, it's no skin off your nose to let somebody join the game with you.
Right.
And it's important that we are welcoming, especially now as we're starting to rebuild and as we're starting to come back. It's especially important for us to be as welcoming as possible to as many people as possible. And because everybody should have the opportunity to have the experiences that we've had. I mean, if you think about the time that you and I have had in the SCA, that's a lifetime. And I think about the people that I've had the privilege to know and to sing with and to tell stories with and to all the amazing things. I'm sorry, god
Oh,
dang
that's
it.
okay. Now I'm crying too.
I know. But to think about all the amazing things and people that we've been able to meet and know and to have in our lives, you know,
Yeah.
to deny somebody that, I think it's cruel.
Yeah.
So I will always be welcoming to anybody who comes to my camp. Just bring your cup and bring a chair and get ready.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And encouraging people and lifting people up costs you nothing. It doesn't
zero.
take away from you. It doesn't it doesn't make it makes you a better person to
Mhm.
lift other people up and to encourage other people.
Absolutely.
It makes us all better. So there we are.
The more you know. Right? That was
That's our
your
soapbox for this
emotional
evening.
moment.
Okay. Well, I pulled a few pictures.
Oh boy.
So I will share the screen
Okay.
and we can talk about some of those. And
Oh
I
god.
love that you are just like, I am in charge and I'm telling you
Andy
what.
and Jackie. That's my Baron and Baroness right there. Baron and Baroness, or Baroness and Baron of Sundragon, because they are a matriarchal barony. They just stepped down a year ago. But yeah, at the time I was their herald, and I was also Bard of the Sun. And they were just absolutely, that was such a blast to do. This was heralding them into coronation for Amber and Alanon stepping down, I believe. So that was that was so much fun. I was shouting at people. It was awesome. Same event. That's Finna. Finna is my bardic sister. I love her. There's Master Thomas. There's Mistress Cecily. There's my friend Kellyanne. But yeah, we were posed bards, looking very dang, we're sexy. They're such sexy bards. Look at those bards. So amazing.
Very into it. Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, I put in two of those.
So amazing. Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, so this is that's his grace Alanon, her grace Amber's when they were, this is like at Highlands War, and I was asked to herald at the last minute, and I heralded them in as the king and queen of Onstiora. I think I was saying Onstiora at that point, and then I immediately turned it around and said they're king and queen after they have conquered the lands of Onstiora, but they are now the king and queen of Aitenvelt. And I don't think the queen was I don't think she was very happy with me. I think the king thought it was hilarious, but yeah, that's what happens when I herald on 2 hours of sleep.
Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I liked heralding. So yeah, so I made this for Mercutio. He's in the Kingdom of the East now. What's up, Mercutio? That's his Commander of the Verklov for the Barony of Aitenvelt. So that's a Rapier Fighting Award. That's one of the scrolls that I've done. I'm sure I could do better than that, but he seemed to like it, so we're all good. My embroidery. So I bought one of those embroidery kits. I'm like, I'm totally gonna embroider a piece of the Bayou Tapestry, and that's pretty much as far as I got, was that right there, because as you can see, I'm like totally missing the mark on like like half of those stitches. You can still see the lines, the stamp lines through them. That is currently sitting in my garage, hiding in shame.
So is this something that the pattern's already on the fabric?
Yeah, it was like supposed to be this whole class, and it was like 8 classes, and I only got like 2 of them. So I was like, yeah, I'll finish it. And then, life happened, and yeah, it'll get finished eventually, just like my Laurel. Yeah, so that is, Liam Ware. Yeah, Liam Ware's Bard of the Sun, Order of the White Oak. So in Aitenvelt, when you are Bard of the Sun, you are when you step down, you're initiated into the Order of the White Oak. And that descends from Master Iosif of Loxley, who was the first Bard of the Sun. on his device is a white oak. And so we are all descended from him. So whenever you are a Bard of the Sun the first time, there have been people who have done it multiple times, but it's kind of like an Order of the Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time you're inducted, every other time they're like, yeah, cool, thanks for stopping by. But you're initiated into the Order of the White Oak, and you are called a descendant of the White Oak, and you can wear white oak leaves, which I think is kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat little club to be a part of.
I like the dude by the fire. He's like, whoa.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
That was my only attempt at freehand, and he looks very medieval.
But that's the beauty of that kind
Right?
of illumination.
So this is Mistress Magdalene, my bestie. She is the current Kingdom MOAS. She is a bard, a herald, former Baroness of Triskathir. She and I are playing something for coronation. She wrote me into holding the microphone, and so I'm laughing at something. I don't know what. We probably made some snarky comment that was probably picked up by the microphone, and trying to look smart, but nope.
Is that
Yeah,
a drum? What is that she's holding?
Well, she's holding a herald's book.
Oh,
so
okay.
like it has all the scrolls in it. But yeah, so she's got the song on her phone. I don't even remember what the song was. She could probably tell me, but yeah, she is honestly one of the most amazing heralds, one of the most amazing bards I have ever heard. She's one of my idols, and I absolutely adore her. So she's a rock star. So that was the Order of the Best Death or something like that for Barony of Eretsul for one of their, I think it was for Too Hot or their Defenders tournament. I can't remember, but the person who got this award, they had the best death of the day or something. So I found a medieval Danse Macabre frontispiece and totally traced that. I'm of the Tracers Club.
I am also a tracer. I don't
Tracers
draw.
Unite. Yes.
I do awesome applique, but it's all traced.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Oh yeah, so this was one of the, I didn't trace this one, I just painted it. This was for Duke Phelan. At the time he was Phelan. That was for his King's Champion event, I believe. It was either for King's Champion or his stepping down. I can't remember. That was, oh my God, that was so long ago. But yeah, I can't remember his SCA name now. I'm so bad with names.
It's we're all relating on Facebook now, and
yeah,
SCA names don't
Arius
anymore.
Arius of Sparta. That's who it is. Yes, Arius of Sparta. One of the coolest guys. He's so amazing. Awesome king. All right, so there's me. So that was my first ANS competition coming back to Aitenvelt. We had just been back to Aitenvelt 2 months, and I was like, I'm gonna enter a Kingdom ANS competition because why not? So so I have my, down there at the bottom it says "Preach It, Sister." That was my research paper that I was chasing the judges around, going, hey, read this. You want to forget that it's 20 pages, just read it. And then I had a scroll, and then one of my third entry was a performance piece. And so I put the dot on myself because I was the display. And so when people asked me what the dot was, I would say, oh, let me show you my third art. And so I would sing for them.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. So because, stuff like that, that doesn't really happen all that often. You don't really get to hear the performing arts. And so I was like, I'm going to put my performing arts piece front and center. And I won performing arts, Populous Choice, and I won research, but I did not win Kingdom ANS champion that year. I'm trying to remember who was. I can't remember. That was like 5 years ago.
That's quite a successful re-entry into the kingdom, though.
Right? I was like,
Yeah.
hey, remember me?
After we're done with the pictures, I want to talk about the different kingdoms you've been in and what the transitioning is like.
Okay.
And then I put this one because I interviewed Master Richard last night,
Mm-hmm.
and you had posted this and said, "I got a Richard. I got a Richard."
Yes. Yeah. I always joke that I knew I was cool when I got a Master Richard. So so I got a Master Richard for doing a Bardic tournament in the Barony of Atenvelt. When Silas and Elena were Baron and Baroness, I went for their Bardic champion. And so they named me the Bardic tournament winner, but they named somebody else the champion. And I was just super stoked that I got a Richard. So I was like, oh my god, I'm so cool. Oh my god, my facial expression. I look like a Muppet. All right, so I was getting so Barony of Sundragon has an award that's given out at every monthly fighter practice where they have court night. It's called the Lord and Lady's Choice. And so the Lord and Lady's Choice is given to people who inspire the populace of the barony. And so they name one man and one woman. They've done children before. My son has gotten it, which was really cool. But this was our first fighter practice back in Sundragon when we moved back in 2016. And we got it for moving back. So, which I thought was really cool. So that's Baron Master Simon that's giving it to me. And the gentleman in the back is Baron Jeffroy, who is Thane Jeffroy. Sorry, Thane Jeffroy. So, yeah. Oh my God, this is my heart. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my husband won baronial champion in 2004 for Baroness Deborah and Baron Diego. And at that time, I was kind of dabbling in scribal arts. I wasn't really all that good, but I really wanted to make his step down scroll. And I wanted it to be this surprise. And so I worked with Master Richard. He did the calligraphy on it. And there's lots of little like Easter eggs in this one. So she's got the red hair because I have red hair. At the time, he had the kind of Fu Manchu goatee kind of thing going on. And so I painted that on him. And we both have gold wedding rings, which you can barely see it now. But and then the red shirt, he was in the Navy, and the turtleneck, because he was a damage controlman, they wore red turtlenecks. And so I made his under tunic red, and then it's got his device on it. And so it's kind of like an allegory of the kingdom holding onto the barony and me holding on to him. And so giving this to him, I actually got to read it into court. It was one of the first times I got to herald in the Kingdom of Atenvelt was when he stepped down, and I read the scroll and gave it to him. And that honestly for me was just one of the, oh God. I love that scroll. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I was really lucky to be able to do that. And this is why I don't fight. My stance is all wonky. So I put on armor at fighter practice. I was feeling like a badass. And I had like all of these different parts from the baronial loaner gear. So none of that armor matched. It was all just like different pieces that happened to fit me at the time. And I was in a helm I couldn't see in because the bars of the helm were like literally sitting across my eyes. And so like I had to do this to be able to see out of the helm. It was so heavy. So I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So I was like, take a picture to prove that I actually got into armor. And so there you go.
There it is. It happened.
Yeah, it happened. And that's all we need to say about that. So, so another scroll I did, I think this one became His Lordship Gregor Legree's um, Commander of the Dragon Scale, I believe, which is one of Sun Dragon's highest baronial awards. So, I really liked doing that one. That one was really cool.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Thank you. I was really proud of how that one turned out. And this is another one that I think Sebastian ended up getting. My husband's name is Sebastian. I think he ended up getting this one for an award. I can't remember what award it is. It's packed somewhere, but I did that one when I was sitting in class while my kids were taking a test one day. I was like, I'm bored. I don't want to grade. I'm just gonna do a scroll. So yeah, so I'm really into archery though. That's one of the things that I can do is archery, and I was lucky enough to get a crossbow, and so this is the Deadly Bard. So I've got my Bard book, and I've got the Kingdom Bard bag. I'm wearing the Kingdom Bard shawl, and I'm going to shoot you if you don't give me a drink for singing a song. So that was at Estrella. So this is when Jacqueline and Jeffroy were invested. I was their herald. That I think was okay. So that day I heralded a 3.5 hour court for Gwenfrey and Simon to step down. So I heralded their court to step down with another herald, and then immediately turned around and heralded Jacqueline and Jeffroy's opening court. So I think that's the longest I've ever heralded, and it was about 4.5, almost 5 hours that day.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I didn't lose my voice. I was so proud of myself. I was like, everybody always loses their voice, not me. Because I've got it.
I have never, like before last night, because Master Richard had some of this device in his pictures too. I'd never seen this baronial device before with the rainbow and the clouds.
Yeah, so there's actually a story behind it. The barony of Sundragon, at the time, it was the third barony. It's the western side of Phoenix, and there's a lot of apocryphal stories about how the device came to be. The official story is that the Baroness Alice, saw, you know how whenever the sun is shining through the clouds and it makes the prism, she's like, oh my gosh, it's a sun dragon. And so, the prism became our symbol. But as time has gone on, it's really kind of morphed into everybody is welcome under the rainbow. We're all family, we're all welcome. And for some people, they don't find their place until they get to Sundragon. And it truly is a family, and it's one of the places I think that will always hold a very special place in my heart. Is that barony. It's one of the most phenomenal baronies. You should definitely look them up at Estrella. They will show you a good time. They will feed you. They will get you drunk, and then they will try not to rob you. I'm just kidding. They won't rob you.
And
these
baronial seats, just
yeah,
the way the composition of the Baron and Baroness, and the way that, especially hers, the way she's positioned, the way the laurel wreath comes up, and it just makes me really happy.
Yeah, like from a photographic standpoint, the focus on her is perfect.
It's amazing.
She is dead center in that seat. Of course, Andy is always a little off kilter. That's just how he is. And if he ever gets elevated to something and you guys start this again, he is definitely somebody you need to talk to, because, well, you open the floor and he will never let you stop talking. I love him. I love you, Andy. I love you. Mwah. But
so the sisters interview is continuing, and we are interviewing everybody.
Awesome.
We started out our original intent was to do Lions Von Tier, and then we started doing Oh, sorry, my monitor just died. That gave me a little bit of adrenaline there. Oh, I think that we are no longer live streaming, actually.
No, it says live for me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick,
Well,
say something inflammatory. That way we can see if it blows up on Facebook if we're still live.
Yeah, I think we stopped streaming.
Oh no.
I think that's what happened. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing the picture.
Okay.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna stop sharing the pictures.
Okay.
No, it says we're still live. Okay, they're saying we're still live. I'm a dork. All right.
Wait. Oh, I just got a message. Person watching. Hi, Chris. Hi.
Sorry, everybody. I did an interview with a Laurel a few weeks ago, and like 7 minutes into it, we stopped streaming live.
Oh
We did
no.
like an hour of interview.
Oh.
Start over.
Okay, now go back and say everything you just said.
I'm a little gun shy. Yeah, and he did. He was amazing. What a
Wow.
So yeah, I'm gonna stop doing the Laurels interviews, but I'll still interview Laurels through the sisters interviews.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't want to be doing this so many nights a week.
Oh, I get it.
As we're getting, more daylight and people are getting vaccinated, and anyway, but the interviews aren't stopping. So
cool. Yeah, definitely hit him up. He's amazing. And the two people behind them, Baron Master Diego and Mistress Deborah, those two are two of the most phenomenal people in the world. You should definitely talk to them together. They are a riot.
So when we're done, maybe you can send me a list.
Oh, I will send you a list.
Okay. Thank you.
A long list. Yes.
Oh no, what have I gotten into?
All right. So this one I did for and I eventually erased the pencil, so it's not as bad as it looks. But I did this one for Duke Gabriel. Gabriel? So yeah, Gabriel and Sonia. Okay. Yeah, Duke Gabriel of the kingdom of Onstiora. That's my home kingdom. That's where I started. For his King's Champion, and it's based off of Edward the Sixth. He's giving somebody a notice of execution, and so I just thought it was like really appropriate for your King's Champion. This is great. So, and what's cool is on the back is I actually wrote the documentation on the back. So this is actually what the illumination looked like. The only thing I changed on the illumination was the coat to include his device and the Onstioran star. Everything else is exactly the way it looked in the illumination.
How cool.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
That was my first attempt at diapering. It's a good thing it wasn't a baby. A diapering baby. All right. So this is me with oh God, I'm so bad with names. Randy. His SCA name has gone completely out of my brain. But he was a baronial bard at the time for the Barony of Sundragon, and we were heralding at a fabric war. And what? Oh, sorry. I'm sure my husband was shouting his name at me. He's my brain. My husband's my brain, and I love him so much. He's coming up the stairs now to tell me. Cullen! God dang it. Could you just stay here and tell me all the names? Oh God, I love that man. That's why I've been married to him for 20 years. If it weren't for him, I think I would choke on something. But yeah, so
one of the reasons I keep my kids with me at events is because they remember all the names that I can't.
Right. I know your face, but your name is gone. Yep. But yeah, Cullen's absolutely amazing. He was Bard of Sundragon. He's an amazing bard. He's a squire as well, and just an all-around great guy. And so I was trying to teach him how to herald, and yeah, so that was me teaching.
Awesome.
Yep. Another scroll.
Okay.
I did another scroll. I don't know what this one went to.
We'll just move on.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I don't remember.
Okay, it's good.
I was like, yay, I did a scroll. Here's a picture. So I was telling, so this was at a fabric war, and it was in between court, and they were like, stall, stall. And so I was like, okay. So I was telling the story of Chichibio, from Dante's, or not Dante's Inferno, Boccaccio's Decameron. And the basic story is that Chichibio is his girlfriend steals part of the leg of a crane that he was cooking for his master. And so Chichibio tells the master that it was a special crane. It was a one-legged crane. And and so the master tells him that he has to go out and show him where the one-legged cranes were. And there's a punchline at the end of it that I won't ruin, so that I have at least one story to tell at Estrella. So, but yeah, so that's me doing Bardic, and I think I'm imitating the master right then, and that's his lordship Wade Greenwall in the background. Really good bard, good herald, all around good guy.
Awesome. So, what is Fabric War?
Fabric War is a Sun Dragon event where once a year we clean out all of our closets and we get rid of fabric we don't want. And people can bring stuff to merchants. People bring garb. And initially it was bartering, but now it's kind of morphed into selling stuff. And then at the end of and then you have A&S classes, and you have a Bardic, and sometimes there's a sideboard or whatever. And then at the end, we pile up all the fabric that hasn't been taken or chosen. And there's a fabric melee at the end, and you dive into the pile of fabric and you find the gems. It's kind of like flea market flip, but with fabric at an SCA event. And you find that fabric, and some people go for the ugliest fabric, and then they make something out of it for the ugly garb contest the next year. And then they get this horrendous bag and a banner to fly that's made up of like all kinds of really horrible fabric that nobody ever wants. It's so much fun. It's such a fun event. It really is. It's a great event. It's an indoor event in the middle of the summer in Arizona, which, as you know, is the only way that you can survive in Arizona.
Yeah.
Is being indoors in the summer.
Yeah, I don't do anything above 75 degrees, so I think Arizona is just generally out for
You're
me.
never going to go to Arizona, man. No. Right?
I'm delicate.
It just stick your head in the oven. It's the same feeling sometimes.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, the kingdom, like if I could bring the kingdom of Atenvelt with me here, it'd be perfect. I love the Outlands. I love Citadel, and I love Ansiora, and I love the places that I've lived. But doggone it, Atenvelt and the Bear Knee Sun Dragon, honestly, that's some of the most amazing people I've ever had the privilege to meet. Just wonderful kingdom.
So you started in Ansiora.
Yep.
And then how long were you there?
I started in Ansiora in 1999, and we moved to in the before times. We moved to Atenvelt in 2002. My husband's mom was not well, and so we came out here to be closer to her, and we lived out here until 2008. And then I got a teaching job. I got my teaching certificate out in Atenvelt, and then I got a teaching job in Texas. So we moved back to Ansiora, and then we moved back to Atenvelt for a couple of years, and then we moved here to Outlands. So yeah, so we've kind of gone back and forth a little bit, but we're staying where we are.
Right.
So yeah.
How do you think that the moving around a lot affected your path?
Honestly, I don't know, because I think being on the kind of path that I was on with Bardic and vocal heraldry, I think that's a different path than somebody taking, say, a textile path, or something like that where it's something that's tangible
Right.
and that you can take a picture of. Now with Bardic, you can film yourself doing Bardic, but I can sit here and write all the research papers in the world and I can post them on Facebook, but I guarantee you nobody's going to read them. Um, unless I literally pester them to do it, or they're just gluttons for punishment. But
I don't know. Some
I
of us
think,
really like those research papers.
well, I've got tons. So let me know if you're ever bored or need a sleep aid, because I've got good stuff. Um, but it's with that. I think it affected it somewhat, but I don't think that it super affected it as much as it would have been if it had been 10 years earlier,
Mhm.
pre social media. I think social media is really going to change how the peerage happens, because it gives people a chance to display what they do on their own terms,
Yeah.
in a way that it's they can get feedback, but it's feedback that they can filter if they need to. And I think that, with the path to peerage, with that, I think in some ways it's going to make it easier, but I also think in some ways it's going to make it a lot harder, especially for people like me who, we don't really do a whole lot of tangible stuff that people can wear. Like my husband, he makes amazing knives, he makes amazing metalwork. His stuff people can wear,
Mhm.
and his stuff will travel wherever. um but it's hard to say, hey, did you check out my last video? Did you check out, the video from Coronation where I heralded that guy, who got the thing? Um, I think it's going to change some things for the better, but I think in some ways it's going to make it harder, for the non-tangible people. But we adapt and overcome. We always do.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that that Facebook or whatever social media is a really good tool, and I know that our council is definitely using it, and it's one of the pieces of advice I give people is to make an album of your work and make it
Mm-hmm.
public. And if you're writing research papers, that's so legit. I think people have this misconception that there are not research laurels and that you have to
Yeah.
make a pretty thing in order to get recognized. And research is the foundation of what we do. And I think
Right.
it would be more accurate to say that there are no laurels that don't do research.
Right.
I mean, we all have to do research. Some of us are way better at it and can write it down and are articulate, and that's super
Yeah.
awesome. But
Yeah, and like, my research, what I like to do, I don't research process. And that's kind of like a different kind of research. Yes, everybody does research. But my research is literary research. So I look at, the literary events that are happening, and the historical events that are happening, and talk about how the historical affects the literary, because literature is a reflection of what's happening in the world around you.
absolutely.
Um, and so if you look at like medieval literature, if you look at something like the Canterbury Tales, that was written, in the midst of the plague, the Black Plague. And, people couldn't leave their homes, and they couldn't travel, and people were dropping like flies, literally. I mean, a whole full third of the European continent, like, gone, disappeared, dead, you know and so if you look at the Canterbury Tales, if you look at something like that as a reflection of the historical events that are happening, um that's the type of research that I do. And I think with the SCA, that's what, other than the cute guy who was fighting rapier at that demo that day, he was wearing tights, oh my goodness. But I think what really drew me to the SCA was the idea of the historical, the historical research and the recreation of that history and the telling of that history and the keeping of that history alive. And I think that's what really drew me to it, and that's what really kind of like fuels my fire. I love the bardic, I love the heraldry, but truly the research is where that's my thing, and I love it. And I love teaching. I love teaching classes about historical events and the literature behind it. Even if only one person shows up, I'll still teach it.
Well, I
So
think you should put your papers online. I will read them.
okay, yeah, I will definitely do that. I'll send you Preach It, Sister. I think you'll like it.
I think I will too. I find that stuff really fascinating, and the culture that I research is not a literate culture,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that they reflect a lot of their culture in their clothing and their material goods.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some fables and traditional stories that have come out of that area that are probably rooted way back,
Mm-hmm.
that are also really interesting to look at. So
Yeah.
yes, I would like to read your papers. Please post them.
Okay.
And I know that there
Yeah.
are a lot of people out there that also really get excited about that kind of stuff. So
Cool. Yes, I will definitely. I'll have to make a place for them. Absolutely.
yay! Thank you.
Sure.
Um, so we haven't really talked about the what it's been kind of emotionally for you to be in this in between space. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to not?
No, I'm happy to talk about it. I think I think a lot of it is just I want to make sure the reason why I haven't done it is twofold. One, a lot of people have worked really hard to make to make the to get me to where I am. Sorry, I guess my husband put a lot more than I was expecting in this cup. Uh,
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Eleanor and Shade. But yeah, so there's a lot of people who have worked really hard to put stuff together. Had this happened when it was supposed to, everything would have been great. And I want to make sure that those people have their moment as well. And, for me, I don't think that the online platform is the right place for that to happen.
Right. So you were given a choice of being elevated online or in person. Correct?
Right. Once COVID really happened, because I was supposed to be elevated at May coronation, as part of Morgan and Elizabeth's step down business. But when we went, my school went online March 13th, and then everything just went to shit.
Yeah.
And you know, we didn't know what was going to happen, and so they did offer me that option of doing it online, and I was like, whenever you get your laurel, it's not just about you, it's about all the people who helped you get there. And I didn't want it to be something that I wanted the opportunity to honor the people that got me where I was. And so and there's something very special about doing it in person with your hand on the sword and their hands over yours. And I've seen it so many times as a herald that, and I've thought to myself, one day I'm going to be in that position and I'm going to have these people say those words to me, and it's like, we joked about it before we started, a laurel, a peerage ceremony is like a wedding, and it's for some of us, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I wanted to make sure that, all the people who could be there. I wanted to make sure that all the people that worked so hard were honored. And I wanted to make sure that I could look my king and queen in the eye and swear that oath, because that's very important to me. So, and what I've heard the whole time is you're already a peer. It's just a matter of recognizing it. And so, it's I I can wait for the accolade because it's not just about me. So,
And do you feel comfortable? Because I've talked to, not in interviews, you're the only extended vigilante that I've interviewed. But I've talked to people who don't feel like they're valid yet because they haven't been elevated. And my response to that is, you have already been recognized. That just the formality part hasn't happened.
mm-hmm.
That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. It's the moment I became a peer was the moment the crown said, Harold, call in the order. And it's funny when it happened because they really threw me for a loop. I will give their majesties, oh my God, a lot of credit. Because they called me up with, at the time, Sir Zipser. No, Prince Zipser. He's still Prince Zipser.
Yes.
They called me up with him. And he and I are sitting there and we're looking at each other and we're like, and they said, you both have something in common. And I'm like, I've never seen you Harold. I've never seen you Bard. And he's like, I've never seen you fight. I'm like, well, I fought once and it was a disaster. So that's probably why you've never seen me fight. And so like, we're spending the whole time going back and forth at each other going, why are we up here? And then that's when they caught us and they called up the Order of the Laurel. And I looked at him and I congratulated him. And then I looked at Elizabeth and she smiled at me and I'm like, holy balls, are you serious? And I just start crying. And like Duchess Bianca comes up, she's like, yes, this is happening. This is happening. Take it in. This is happening. I'm like, because the whole time I was thinking to myself, this is the one event I go to that my husband is not there.
Oh.
But somebody called him, like as soon as they called me up, somebody called him and I had no idea. And I was crying because I thought he was missing it. And thankfully he didn't miss it per se, but yeah, it was, yeah. So that moment is when I became a peer, because this whole time has been a vigil.
Yeah.
And it's allowed me to really get a lot of great counsel that I don't know that I would have gotten in a vigil tent.
Right.
Because of the time limit, all of that. Yeah. And you're tired and you're like, can I just go? Can I get out of the tent for like 5 minutes? Because I've been that person that's helped. And I'm like, how do you stand it?
It's what we do.
Yeah, you do. And, so this has given me the opportunity to get advice from people that, wouldn't normally be able to give me that advice or have that opportunity. And it's allowed me to really think about what kind of peer do I want to be? Because I've seen some really good peers and I've seen some peers that I'm like, if ever I'm a peer, I will not be that person. And so I think that by going on this journey, by being on this journey and it going for so long, that I think I will be a better peer for it. Because now I've come to the realization of this is the kind of person I want to be. This is who I want to look out for. This is what I want to say as a peer. And this is how, when 20 years from now, when I'm 64 years old and I'm sitting at a campsite, and somebody's like, oh, who's that? Oh, that's Dame Eleanor. Let me tell you stories about her. That's the kind of peer I want to be, but I want them to be good stories to where that person comes and sits down with me and we have a drink and we tell a story. And, that's the kind of peer I want to be. I don't want to be a peer that somebody's scared of.
No.
And there are peers that I've talked to in the past that I've been absolutely terrified because of their reputation, which has been completely unwarranted.
Right.
And so I think this time has allowed me the opportunity to really realize what kind of peer I want to be. So, and I'm grateful for that gift.
Yeah. And honestly, I hope that all of us, peers and non-peers, are really taking this time to look at who we want to be in and out of the SCA, and look at how we want to play this game or live this lifestyle going forward, and
Yeah.
how we, how we can be more inclusive, and how we can be better allies, and um, how we can gently remind each other when we misstep, and
Hmm.
allow each other the opportunity to grow, and maybe not so gently remind when those opportunities aren't taken.
Yeah. I mean, because we're all human. And I think looking at it from a new person's perspective, they see somebody who's a peer. And, I remember having that feeling of, oh my God, I can't talk to that person. They're a peer. They're going to look at me and they're going to be like, why are you talking to me? And, it's, that's not how I want to be. And
No.
that's not how peerage should be. Peerage should be, you should be the first one in the door saying, hi, how are you? Have you heard about this SCA thing? You should come and check it out. It is so much fun. Come with me. Let me put clothes on you. Let me put a mug in your hand. You are over 21, right? Yes, great. Okay, here's a mug in your hand. Here's a, food in your belly. Sit at my fire. That's what peer should be. To me, that is a peer. The title is the icing on the cake. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope that you are able to fulfill all those goals for yourself.
Gosh, I hope so too, because I would hate to have that thrown back at me. Remember when you said you were going to do this? Oh yeah, I remember.
Wait.
I'm going to hear it from my peer. I just know it. I'm going to hear it from her.
Well, and you're gonna have bad days.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have meltdowns. That doesn't change.
Yeah.
People that are in their 70s have meltdowns. It's the human condition. It's just what
Yeah.
happens. So
Yeah.
um you do catch peers on bad days,
Oh, sure.
and we can't be perfect, but we can be gracious about our mistakes, and we
Mhm.
can move forward and own our shit.
Absolutely. And I hope anybody watching, if I'm ever out of step, do not hesitate to tell me. Just because I have a medallion around my neck does not make me any better than anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm a human just like you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Same. And I agree with you. I don't want people to be scared of me.
mm-mm.
Nobody wants, well, maybe some people want that, but
Well, a little fear is always good to have. That keeps us on our toes. But it's I think that there is definitely a shift in the SEA too with peers that I've interacted with, that there is definitely a shift in that thinking of, that, they I'm trying to think of how I want to word it before I don't want to step in anything, but um I
got
haven't
you.
gotten it yet. But just I think that there's a shift in thinking about what the peerage is and the responsibilities of that peerage. And I think that that's a wonderful shift. And what a wonderful time to be made a peer in the middle of that shift, and to hopefully continue that shift,
Yeah.
and make the game a better game for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the things I think about a lot. I still feel like I'm a young Laurel, but then I have to step back and remember it's going to be 17 years for me. And I am fully in immersed right now in the stage of making sure that everything's set for the next wave to come in,
Mhm.
and that I enable that wave, and I encourage the changes that they bring, and the growth that they bring.
Yeah.
um, I've said before, and I don't mean it in a demeaning way, but it's like raising kids. You want to make sure that your world is a good place for them to take over, and that they're ready to take over, and they're ready to drive the bus when you're not anymore.
Absolutely.
And we have to make those changes, or we're not going to have anyone to take over and to keep this game alive. And it's been around for over 50 years, and I would like to
Yeah,
see
that's
it go another
mind-boggling.
50. Yeah.
It's
um
crazy.
so I love everything you're saying, I guess is what I'm saying. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
Um, no, I would just say that, you know, it's it's been such an amazing journey, and I cannot wait to see where the next 20, hold on, I have to do math, 22 years takes me in this game. Because I'm at 22 years in. And, there, yeah, that's a long time. I mean, I was a kid when I started this game. And, you know, for the longest time, I always thought that I was never going to be able to get to this point. And there were a lot of times that I questioned myself, that I doubted myself, that I said, I need to just drop what I'm doing. I need to go do what everybody else over there is doing because they're obviously getting the recognition. And it's when I really looked at myself and said, no, this is who I am. This is what I do. And I'm going to do it whether they recognize it or not. I think that's when it really truly became fun for me. And that's when I was actually seen. And, I know that there are people who are apprentices who are, questioning, who've been apprentices for a really long time, who are like, I've been doing this for 10 years, 12 years. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's right that it should take somebody 10 or 12 years to get a peerage. But that's just me. That's just me. Um, and I know that there are some people who, they have different not categories, levels that they think people should have to reach, and criteria that they have to meet. For me, somebody is a peer when they do what they love, and they do it because they love it, and they pass that knowledge on to somebody else, not because they're being seen, but because they want somebody else to enjoy it just as much as they do. And to me, that is the essence of what being a peer is sharing that love of what you do, no matter what it is. Love of fighting, love of service, love of art, love of, rapier, whatever. If you're sharing your love, to me, you're a peer, regardless of what's around your neck. And I have great respect for people who continue to serve and to do their art and to fight and to continue this dream, and who have done so in such extraordinarily ridiculous and wretched circumstances. I have great respect and great love for those people. And I have great respect and great love for people who have put up with me for the last 20 years that I've been an apprentice, and who have guided me, and who've smacked me around a couple of times and told me to get over myself. you know I'm just lucky. And I want people to feel this feeling too. So come sit with me at Estrella. I'm hoping to have my vigil at Estrella. And hopefully Estrella happens. It better happen. Gosh darn it, I've already put in for the time. And I don't want to have to go visit family. I just want to go camp. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping to have my vigil at Estrella, because I'm going to have a huge Bardic fire, lots of food, lots of drink. Come hang out with me. I'll be in the Sun Dragon camp, and we're going to have a badass time. And I don't care if you have a crown on your head, a medallion around your neck, or you're a newbie. Just come hang out with me, and let's have some fun. So
Awesome.
what a privilege. This has been such a privilege and such an honor.
Oh,
And it's been so amazing getting to know you. I hope that I get to meet you in person one day, so I can give you a big hug and hand you a stack of research papers.
yay, I love it. And thank you so much for trusting me with your story, and for coming on and taking this little ride with me.
Thank you.
It's a big deal to get on camera and have your words, I really appreciate it. I'm
My
looking
pleasure.
for my schedule book. Um,
Who's next on the Wheel of Death?
next. So next week we have kind of a big week. On Sunday morning, I'm doing a Branch of Laurels interview with Eleanor from Dragonbald. And then
Ooh.
Tuesday, Branch of Laurels with Tiberius from the East, who is a pelican and a laurel. And then Wednesday, on Tier's own Baroness Kalja will be on the sisters interview. And she and I kind of grew up in the SCA together.
Oh, that should be fun.
And then Friday, I think, is my sister's first leveling up show, which is going to be Sir Mari, who is now in Lockdock, talking about sleeve fittings. And she has like magic sleeve things. And then after that, Rifkin and I are going to be on Between Two Roses, which is Lockdock's kind of interview show. And we'll be, I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but they're going to interview us. So that's our busy next week.
That's awesome. You guys should tune into every single episode. I will test you on that.
If you have the time, it's a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's crazy. But thank you for the service that you've done for the SCA and keeping this going through all of this, and providing this platform. I think I just thank you, because it's been so awesome to watch, and it's been neat hearing stories from people that you normally wouldn't get to meet.
Yeah.
And it's really bringing the SCA closer together. And I love seeing all of the branching off of the different stuff, and you guys are awesome. So I raise a glass to you, and I toast you and your sister, and I wish you good health, long life, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. It has been an absolute honor, and honestly has kept us both sane. So we appreciate every single guest that has come on more than we can say, and everybody that watches in the community of commenters more than we can say. It has made us feel connected and inspired to continue trying to shape this game and keep it going during all of this. So thank you for all of that. And thanks everyone for watching, and good night.
Mwah! Bye everybody.
Good night.